Day one of the 5th annual ID4Africa movement meeting is taking place at Empress Palace, east of Johannesburg today. This year's meeting is hosted by the South African Department of Home Affairs under the theme Identity Ecosystems for Service Delivery. The event is being attended by Home Affairs authorities from across the continent. Let's go there live.
A single entry point into the National Population Register, and this point is at birth. To this end, our law demands that parents register their newborn babies within 30 days of birth. And dear Minister Motsoaledi, having served as Minister of Home Affairs, I can now tell you can forget your Christmas, because you've got to go and register all the children born on Christmas Day. Once a child has a birth certificate, that child can be issued with a passport and can enjoy access to services offered by other government departments, such as I've mentioned, health and education. We've entered into a memorandum of understanding with our country's health department with the purpose of ensuring births at health facilities are registered. To date, the Department of Home Affairs has connected 391 health facilities in public hospitals. So mothers at these facilities can now register their children immediately, and they receive the birth certificates before leaving the facility. Home Affairs South Africa is currently engaged in a pilot to automate registration of births, marriages, and deaths. It prints names of parents in their children's passports for ease of travel. As part of our civil registration objectives toward the achievement of our Vision 2030, as outlined in our country's National Development Plan, our country is expected to be at 90% of birth registration by 2030, and to ensure 100% a decade or so later. In the 2018-19 financial year, we reached 85.7% on birth registration. So I believe 100% is doable before 2030. As with other organizations, our policies have evolved over the years. Systems that were considered to be state-of-the-art during the 1990s have proven inadequate to meet the ever-changing needs of our department as we've become more experienced at this effort. Thus, in 2011, Home Affairs initiated a system-wide modernization program. Since then, tremendous progress has been made in creating a responsive, credible, digital, paperless, and reliable identification system along similar lines to those now proposed by ID4Africa. In July 2013, the Green ID book, which was manual and paper-based and thus open to severe manipulation, was replaced with a new smart ID card, which is an extremely secure identity card. The card has a readable and verifiable card chip and embedded biographic data. More than 13 million smart ID cards have been issued in the quest to replace around 38 million green barcoded identity books. The Smart ID card is an end-to-end process that is wholly automated. It is supported by a live capture system. Of the 412 Home Affairs offices in the country, 193 are modernized and can thus process the new Smart ID cards and machine-readable passports. So from this experience, Home Affairs has become better placed to argue for the adoption of identity ecosystems for service delivery as suggested by the conference theme. Digital transformation has shown us great potential exists within it to open new pathways towards smarter platforms and new ways of service delivery. The Home Affairs Department has introduced innovative models in this regard. It has launched an electronic platform, e-Home Affairs, through which persons can now apply for the new smart ID cards and passports online from the comfort of their homes or offices by simply visiting the website. The e-Home Affairs portal was made possible by the partnership of Home Affairs with 4 major commercial banks in South Africa. They entered into an agreement in April 2016 and piloted in 13 branches in Gauteng and Western Cape. As we proceed to expand this initiative, we believe that we should pay attention to implementing a single source of information access about all clients, which would include biographic and biometric technologies. The new national identity system that South Africa seeks to build will serve as a master source for civics and immigration management, with key elements stated as the following. Records of persons throughout their lifespan, birth, marriage, and death records of residents, including citizens, permanent residents, asylum seekers, and refugees. Thirdly, all persons entering the country will have their biometrics captured during the visa application process or at the point of entry. Fourthly, processing and storing of asylum seekers and refugees applications, recording of visitors in as smooth a way as possible, and of course ensuring that if there's any person who's not recorded on our systems in the country, that we know who they are and where they are. This modernization of South Africa's Department of Home Affairs, once fully and successfully implemented, will re-engineer and automate most of the key processes of this department and yield a significantly enhanced identification system and service, and a credible national population register. We are really thrilled at the work that has been achieved by the Department of Home Affairs. We believe arriving at a point where we have a single view of Home Affairs clients, where we have integrity of Home Affairs data, where we have secure borders while absolutely embracing all visitors, where we have improved citizen and client experience, and where we have a citizen and client-oriented workforce, that all these objectives are achievable and will deliver the best service our country can offer. We must, however, ensure that we improve our interaction between us as the state, the citizen, and the visitor. We must be more customer-centered. We must ensure we have a secure environment. The digital opportunities offered by the fourth industrial revolution offer us a window into achieving these particular goals. Our ultimate goal, I'm sure as with all of us gathered here, is to utilize digital technology in bringing government services closer to people just where they live. We look forward then to seeing the sharing of experience with international agencies, with our private sector partners, with government representatives present here, on all the critical areas organized as thematic tracks for this 2019 annual meeting. I am really hopeful that ID4Africa will serve as a movement in Africa that will continue playing a pivotal role in empowering the identity community in our continent and, of course, our people, and play a role in promoting dialogue and knowledge exchange. After all, the time has come for us as Africans to do for ourselves, and to do for ourselves really excellent. And as Dr. Attic has rightly said, as African countries, we are the ones who are best placed to deal with a myriad of identification challenges that confront us, while at the same time reinforcing our competence and capacities in this vital area of our work. I hope that this, your 2019 annual meeting, will build on the achievements of the 4th annual meeting, which was held in the Federal Republic of Nigeria in April last year. I hope you will do this by, among other things, assisting in defining a context for the adoption and enjoyment of responsible identity systems, including the development of appropriate legal frameworks, appropriate institutional arrangements, appropriate governance structures which include women, appropriate data protection, privacy, and appropriate regard to human rights. I wish to thank the leadership of ID4Africa for bringing to South Africa the 2019 engagement on the advancement of legal and digital identity. And I conclude by wishing you an excellent job on behalf of the people of Africa, and a conference whose deliberations will lead to concrete outcomes and concrete benefits for the people of our continent and the global community. I thank you and wish you well.
Thank you very much, Honorable Minister Pardon. That was really, mind-blowing. I think a number of issues that we need to carry out from that particular stage. I'm reminded here, Minister Pardon, because before I joined the Department of Home Affairs, that when the smart card was launched on the 18th of July 2013, as bureaucrats, we have a tendency to delay things. We're saying, hey, Minister, can you postpone this launch to November because we're not ready? And I'm told that the Minister said, you're going to deliver this. And the colleagues worked hard, and the Minister did launch on the day which we're celebrating the icon, Nelson Mandela. And it is again befitting that the Minister is back here. And Minister Mtswale, thank you for bringing the Minister here to this event and to ensure that we celebrate the legacy of Nelson Mandela, to ensure that we have a country that is united, that is able to ensure that we advance the rights of everybody who's in our shores. Thank you very much, Minister. Colleagues, we have come to the end of our opening session. We will now, as I've indicated at the beginning, request that you remain seated while the ministers leave the room to now go and open the exhibition, and then we'll proceed with the next session in this room at 10:30, which is when we start the next session. Thank you very much, ministers.
All right, we're coming out of proceedings at day one of the 5th annual ID4Africa movement meeting that's taking place at the Empress Palace east of Johannesburg. You saw there an address by the Minister of International Relations, Ms. Naledi Pandor. We'll dip in and out of that event as and when we need to.